Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwa. We want to begin with some news coming into us concerning Tullow. The CNBC is reporting that Tullow Oil's Chief Executive Officer, Paul McDade, has resigned, and the oil and gas explorer also scrapped its dividends as it continues to face issues at its main producing assets in Ghana. The CNBC reports the company has been facing problems at its operations in Ghana because of mechanical issues at the Jubilee field and delay in completing a well at the 10 offshore field, which led Tullow to cut its estimates for 2019 oil output last month. Tullow is expected to produce 87,000 barrels of oil a day this year, whilst targets lower production in 2020 of between 70,000 and 80,000 barrels a day as it undertook a review of its production performance issues. The Africa-focused oil firm also suspended its dividend as it aims to generate more cash to support future investment plans and current explorations. The London-listed company says it has started a process to find a new group chief executive officer. You can find more of that on our website, myjoyonline.com. Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Free Zones Authority, Michael Ochubefi, has told Joy Business that work on amendment of the law that governs the Free Zones area has reached its final stage. According to him, the proposed amendment will take into consideration review of critical aspects of the law which render them ineffective in dealing with concerns of new investors and some operators.
You see, without a very robust act, the concept cannot run well. And this act has not seen any amendment for the past 22 years. It has become so weak and irrelevant. And it is not even consistent with modern business. And we believe that there's a need for us to amend it to suit modern free zones. And that's what we are doing. We are on course. As of now, the draft is with our minister. We're preparing to send it to cabinet for approval, and then it will come back to parliament for other works to be done on it. Then we can see the new acts come to.
Expecting it next year?
We're not set target for that, but we believe that by next year, by middle of next year, everything will be done.
In other news, some currency dealers and banks are asking for an increase in dollar support from the Bank of Ghana to halt the cedi's continuous depreciation. The local currency since the beginning of this year has depreciated against the dollar by 13.30%. It is now selling around 5 cedis 69 pesos. George Rafe has the latest.
Depreciation against the dollar might have gotten a little bit out of hand over the past 2 weeks. This is due to a pickup in demand for dollar cash by businesses that are preparing to restock a little bit early for next year, and even some investors that are redeeming their funds in our bonds because of what some analysts are describing as challenges with our fiscals. Let's say fears that the government might not be prudent with its expenditure going into an election year, and concerns that our fiscal targets are too ambitious. On the spot market, some commercial banks were offering as much as 5 Ghana cedis 69 pesos and 5 Ghana cedis 73 pesos for a dollar. The Bank of Ghana itself on Wednesday last week sold about $10 million at a rate range of 5 Ghana cedis 62 pesos and 5 Ghana cedis 65 pesos. The Bank of Ghana has been on the market in terms of dollar supply, but for some commercial banks that have spoken to Joy Business, the supply has not been increased to meet market demand. Some of them have told Joy Business that if the supply doesn't pick up, then the situation could worsen in the coming weeks. But officials of the Bank of Ghana have also told Joy Business that the worst is expected to happen in the first quarter of next year. That is why they are building up their reserves now to be able to accommodate the pressure during that time when a lot of companies are demanding more dollars to finance their imports to restock. The development has seen the Bank of Ghana slow down on its market support. The central bank's international reserves in October this year was around $8 billion and is expected to be going up before the end of this year. For some analysts, there's a likelihood that the central bank may not increase the dollar support and things could be bad for us going forward. But for some market players, they've argued that this dollar support by Bank of Ghana or any market intervention should be seen as a short-termish approach. But in the medium term, we should look at exporting more to improve upon our dollar earnings and cut down on important stuffs that can be manufactured or produced locally. And the possibility of government also being disciplined with its expenditure, and that could deal with the cycle that we see in the last quarter of the year and the first quarter of the next year.
While the city's depreciation having an impact on fuel prices, we have more of that coming up on the marketplace in about 20 minutes. Stay tuned to join you. Today's Sports is up next.